Former President Trump is on track for a massive landslide victory in November if the polls are correct. In a recent poll, Trump is up 13 points in Nevada, 9 points in Georgia, and 6 points in Arizona.
Look, these Sun Belt battleground states, frankly, for the Joe Biden campaign, these numbers are an absolute disaster. The smallest lead is in Arizona for Donald Trump. He's up 6. Look at this, 9 in Georgia, 13 in Nevada. My goodness gracious, my God. That is a huge lead. No Democrat has lost that state since John Kerry lost it back in 2004.
Thank you. You know, you can't even see the back. There's so many people here. There's so many people here. Man. Over 100,000 people. This is supposed to be, you know, they thought they'd hit 40. So they more than doubled it. But you can't even see the end. I wish we didn't have the press here. I wish we moved them the hell back so they'd have, because they can't see in the back. You know, I always tell the press, turn your cameras around to show the audience, okay? They never do it. Look, fake news. They never do it.
On May 11th, 2024, 80 to 100,000 Trump fans in New Jersey showed up to one of the biggest political rallies since 2008 when Obama ran for president.
And there's nowhere else I'd rather be this beautiful evening. It is a nice one, right? Then right here on the Jersey Shore at the world-famous Wildwood Boardwalk, great place, with thousands of proud, hard-working American patriots. As you can see today, we're expanding the electoral map because we are going to officially play in the state of New Jersey. We're going to win the state of New Jersey. Got a great group of people with us, an incredible group of people. We're also looking really great in the state of Minnesota, which hasn't been won since 1952, and we're leading in the polls, and the state of Virginia. And actually many other states. I don't know, it could be all of them. This guy's so damn bad, it could be all of them. He's so bad, I think we're going to win them all. All across America, millions of people in so-called blue states are joining our movement based on love, intelligence, and a thing called common sense.
Trump jokingly said that he's going to fire Biden like this. But I'm going to look at that guy and I'm going to say, Joe Biden, you're the worst ever. Joe Biden, you're fired. Get out of here. You're fired.
And we're going to look at Biden. I'm sure nobody ever saw The Apprentice. That was a big hit. That was a big, powerful hit. But I'm going to look at that guy and I'm going to say, Joe Biden, you're the worst ever. Joe Biden, you're fired. Get out of here. You're fired. Get out of here, Joe. We're going to straighten out our country. We're not going to destroy it. He's destroying it.
Trump talked about the high inflation and the skyrocketing cost in gas and energy.
But I just had a hot dog, and it was very good. So the price of hot dogs up 22%. Chicken's up 32%. Hamburgers are up 37%. That's why I had the hot dog. It went up the least. Soda's up 30%, eggs are up 50%, gasoline's up 50%, bacon is up 79%, bacon. That's why I don't have bacon anymore, it's too expensive. Not one thing is cheaper, there's not one thing anywhere, there's not one item that's cheaper. Energy is way up, that's what caused the problem. You had low energy, you had energy at $1.87. Now it's up to almost $4 again, and it's going up higher. In California, it's got just hit $7.21 today. Some place was ripping you off. And if you're young and looking to buy a home, the 30-year mortgage rate is almost at 8%. When I left office, it was 2.6%. 2.6, a little difference.
Trump stated that he can't make fun of President Biden's demented walk off stage because the fake news media tried to claim that Trump himself was the demented guy trying to walk off the stage, which is laughably false news.
You ever see him when he's finished? He finishes a speech which usually lasts about a minute and a half. And he always goes like this. And then he doesn't know where he goes. But, you know, we have great people, Secret Service. They always run up on the stage and they lead them off the stage. They're great. So it's all over television. So I said, First Lady, how great a speech was that? Who else is drawing like that? Nobody could draw crowds like that. How great was I? She said, you were okay. Oh. I said, why? What's wrong? Well, you couldn't find your way off the stage. So I was imitating him, and they said I couldn't find my way off. That's what happened. So I have to be very careful. I'm doing the imitation, walking around, and the fake news said, Trump could not find his way off. So I don't do that anymore. I just do a modified version. I do a very modified version. That happens a lot with the fake news. You know, that's why they call them the fake news.
Trump started to laugh at the fact that he is now more popular than ever, despite the fact that the Biden regime is attempting to throw him in prison. Trump called the ongoing charges bullshit, and the crowd started to chant bullshit.
If bad polls start coming in, we don't want to let that happen. You know, they're trying to rig the vote through this crap they're doing, but it's backfired. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. I'm more popular now than I've ever been. Can you believe it? They rigged the whole thing with the Department of Justice, and every time they indict, I've been indicted more than the great Alphonse Capone, Scarface. Al Capone was so mean that if you went to dinner with him and he didn't like you, you'd be dead the next morning. And I got indicted more than him on bullshit, too. Just bullshit.
Trump then told the crowd that it's not nice to say the word shit. He then went on to say that the word fat is offensive and we really need to stop calling Chris Christie a fat pig.
Everything they touch turns to what? You shouldn't use that kind of language. Look, you can't use the word shit, okay? That's like Christie, you know Chris Christie. Does anybody like Chris Christie? Good. So I was in New Hampshire, and he was fighting. You know, he's like totally unhinged. It's called Trump derangement syndrome. I would say he was a major case of Trump derangement syndrome. But he was in there, and somebody from the front row said, "Sir, he's a fat pig." And I said, but nobody heard. The person was a nice person, but said I said, you cannot call Chris Christie a fat pig. You cannot do that. Please, sir, if you call him a fat pig once more, I'm going to have you leave the arena. And the guy didn't know what was happening. I said, don't worry about it. I'm only kidding. You know. But I said, you cannot call him a fat pig because you're not allowed to use the fat word. You know, you can use almost any word, but you can't use the fat word. It's career ending. If you call somebody fat, it's career ending. We're all fat. Except for Lawrence Taylor and OJ, they're not fat. They're not fat. They sure as hell weren't fat when they played football, were they, huh?
Trump told the audience that he believes the war in Ukraine is still going on because Vladimir Putin is making huge profits off oil, while America is losing money over green energy policies. Trump believes that if we can lower the gas prices, Putin would have to end the war.
So we're going to terminate the Green New scam. We're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to get our energy way down. Don't forget, that's what caused inflation. He let energy get out of hand, and it went to $100 a barrel. And now Putin also said, Putin would have never done that with Ukraine. But Putin now says, oh, man, at 100, he can spend a fortune on the war. If he kept it at $40 a barrel, Putin wouldn't have been able to do that. But Russia's made a fortune in this war because this man that we have that doesn't know what he's doing has allowed energy. And right now it's getting close to $100 a barrel again. You're not going to end the war unless you bring down the price of oil. But he doesn't understand that. And it's so simple. But Putin, that would have never happened. If you look at you take a look at Xi, President Xi of China, talking about Beijing. Now, they've got ships circling, they have planes, but they never were doing anything. President Xi of China with Taiwan And I said, if you do that, it's going to be so bad for Beijing. You don't want to do that. It's going to be so bad for Beijing. He said, but what do you mean by that? You have to think about that. You're going to have to think about that. Don't do it. And he would never have done it. Let's see what he does. But boy, they have ships circling Taiwan at levels that they've never had. They have planes. It's not very comfortable to be living right now in Taiwan. And so Russia wouldn't happen. That wouldn't have happened. And you know what wouldn't have happened? The attack on Israel on October 7th would not have happened. It would not have happened.
Trump railed against electric cars and said that the American people should have the freedom to choose if they want gas or electric vehicles. He then jokingly stated that if you want to visit him at the White House, don't invest in an electric car because you won't make it.
But they're forcing them on you and you can't do it. It's supply and demand. People don't want them. And some people do, and the people that do should buy an electric car. I think they're fine. I think they're good. I think Elon, he's a friend of mine, he does a good job, but not everybody should have one. If you want to take a nice trip from, let's say, New Jersey, and you want to go and visit me at the White House in a little while, don't go buy an electric car. You won't make it. Don't go buy an electric car. If you want to drive down to Palm Beach, Florida and see me and play a round of golf with me, I'd love to do it. But don't take an electric car because you'll make about 10 stops. Because you'll be very late. Your tea time will be long expired.
Trump then went after President Biden hard, calling him a grossly incompetent, stupid man. Trump believes Biden is the worst president in American history because he turned the government into a banana republic, which means a corrupt government that is tyrannical but tells the public they're free when in fact they're not free.
And they waited till the election. They waited right into the middle of the election. They even waited actually to see how I was doing. And in all fairness, I was number one throughout the entire process. We did not have a hard time. You know, we got it in record time. Did you know that? We got it in record time. It was the fastest anybody has ever gotten the nomination, I think, from either party. The fastest. We had, normally, if it was a normal thing, I'd be campaigning right now to try and get it, but we won it 2 months ago. And nobody's ever done it with that speed. That means you like me. You don't do that to your opponent. You don't do that to your political opponent. It's done in third world countries. It's done in banana republic. It's not done in the United States of America. So then I said, well, now I'm able to speak freely. And that's when I call him the most grossly incompetent man in government, the worst president ever of any country. The whole world is laughing at him. He's a fool. He's not a smart man. He never was. In prime time, he was considered stupid. I talk about him differently now because now the gloves are off. He's a bad guy. Should have never done that because it's so bad for our country. Should have never done it. But again, I'll say it for the second time. He's by far the worst president in the history of our country. You could take, I used to say 5, now I say 10, right? I used to say, I think I'm going to make it 15. You could take the 10 worst presidents in the history of our country, add them up. The worst presidents, take them. Give me the 10 worst names. They haven't done the damage to our country that this total moron has done. Okay? He's a moron. And other country leaders who I know, they laugh at him. They can't believe it. They can't believe what they're getting away with. I would have never talked with that kind of disrespect for a president until he did what you should never do. We're supposed to cherish the office of president. You don't do what he did to try and win votes, to try and hurt your opponent so he can't win. But it had the reverse effect. I'm higher now in the polls than I've ever been. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Good job. Good speech. Good speech. No, I'm higher now than I've ever been. And we're going to keep it that way. And we're going to win so big. And we're going to turn this country around so fast. We're going to do it.
That pretty much sums up Trump's speech. As of right now, if the election were held today, Trump would most likely win in a landslide. Remember that a lot can change. We still have 6 months left in the election cycle. So don't get too cocky and don't forget to vote. The polls mean nothing if you don't vote.